Well, Ms. May, thank you for your time, and I got to say, you had me at biodegradable balloons.
Gang, what's up? Aaron here, Kennedy and Looney. I don't know, we're going to give this one a try. Ben Mulroney is now the main anchor for global news. Oh my goodness, what a weird thing. I don't know what I really think about Ben. I've watched a few of his podcasts recently when was doing that. But I also watched him growing up on Entertainment Tonight Canada, like selling celebrity foolishness. So maybe he's doing more of the same here, but at least he's got Andrew Scheer, who is the funniest guy in Ottawa, funniest guy on Parliament Hill, followed up by Elizabeth May, who is a total and loser. She's a fake. I don't care how nice she seems. Climate change is a hoax, guys. A total hoax. Show me one piece of evidence, proof, not evidence, proof that climate change is a real thing. Like, whatever. Anyhow, we're going to take a peek at this. Ben Mulroney, Andrew Scheer, House Leader of the Conservative Party, Elizabeth May, Leader of the Green Party, whatever that means money. That's all they want, is to dupe and distract, divide you, to pay them money. Let's take a look at this. What a mess we have in Canadian federal politics. Get yours right here. I'm Aaron. This is Canadian Looney. Let's launch this one. Andrew Scheer is very entertaining. Ben Mulroney, we'll see. Elizabeth May is half in the bag. It's only noon here in Atlantic Canada. Let's take a peek.
Hey, that's something everyone can enjoy.
Mark Carney's first budget will be put to the ultimate test sometime next week. Joining us now with conservative reaction to the budget is the party's House Leader, Andrew Scheer. Mr. Scheer, thank you for your time.
Great to be on the show.
Now, you've said that the Liberals have used undemocratic actions in order to get a majority. This was after one Conservative MP crossed the floor to the Liberals and another announced he's resigning. What do you feel were undemocratic about those actions?
Well, Canadians clearly voted for a minority government. They wanted Mark Carney to have a strong opposition. They did not want to give him the unfettered runway that a majority government might give a government. They wanted strong controls on that. If Mark Carney doesn't like the results of that, he can take that up with the Canadian people. But what he shouldn't be doing is any kind of pressure tactics or backroom deals to try to get the majority that Canadians denied him. So, that's what we're saying about the developments this week that are undemocratic, to make these kinds of deals and backrooms without any kind of transparency or accountability for Canadians to change the results of the last election. We believe that what Canadians vote for at the ballot box is so important, that when they elect a certain kind of government, that trying to undo that through these kinds of means is undemocratic. Precisely because there was no democratic activity that would lead to Mark Carney getting what he wanted.
Well, logically, then, that would mean that the party, the Conservative Party, would stand firmly against the very notion of floor crossing. Is that what you're saying? Is that the party policy moving forward?
Well, what we're saying is that the specific intent to try to achieve a majority that the voters themselves denied the Liberal Party, that part of that is undemocratic. And so that's a very specific thing that we're talking about. But I think all the conversations that we've been hearing swirling around the parliamentary press gallery this week are fueled by Liberal rumors in a desperate attempt to distract from the fact that their budget has landed with such a thud. It's almost universally been panned, setting the country on an unsustainable path, massive new debt, burdening our working class Canadians. In fact, more of your tax dollars, more of your viewers' tax dollars are now going to go to pay the interest on the debt than even to healthcare. The government of Canada is now spending more tax dollars on just debt interest payments than on the entire healthcare system from a federal perspective. This at a time when thousands of Canadians can't find family doctors. Conservatives don't believe that it's wise, prudent management to ask Canadians to sacrifice even more to grow the size of government and grow that massive deficit.
So if you were to sum up the Conservatives' key objections to this budget in a simple, manageable, snackable thing, what would you tell Canadians?
We would tell Canadians there's nothing in this budget that will bring down prices, and all the inflationary deficits will just mean things will cost more. The budget says that it's going to increase the industrial carbon tax. Farmers pay that industrial carbon tax when they buy equipment and fertilizer. The fuel service standards tax is still in place. That's 17 cents a liter. Every piece of food that needs to be trucked from the farm to the food processing center to the grocery store, all of those costs get passed on to the consumer. So that extra 17 cents a liter will have a major impact on driving up food prices. There's nothing in here that will bring down development charges so that we can build homes at a more affordable rate. And Mark Carney himself gave a very gloomy speech telling young Canadians that they're going to have to sacrifice even more. So the fact that prices will go up and there's nothing in here to be priced. Oh, so I should correct myself though. There is one measure to help bring prices down. Mark Carney brought in a private jet tax cut. So he heard from all the people that were lined up at food banks and young people not being able to afford a home. And his answer to all of that was to eliminate the luxury tax on private jets and yachts. That just shows how out of touch Mark Carney is, that he thinks that that's going to help working class Canadians.
Mr. Scheer, I want to go back to what you were saying about the industrial carbon tax, but because it sounds like the narrative that's shaping up is very reminiscent of the original battle on the consumer-facing carbon tax. Is that the plan? Is the plan death by 1,000 cuts by the Conservatives on this industrial carbon tax?
Well, I believe that Mark Carney has said that that's the plan himself. I mean, he was on a news program in Atlanta, Canada, when he was running in the leadership race, when he challenged the reporter to say, you know, nobody really buys steel anymore. And he was saying that they could increase the industrial carbon tax. So it's a bit of a shell game that, you know, after denying the negative effects of the consumer carbon tax for a decade, Liberals are now saying, well, you know, we can listen to Conservatives on that one, but they're going to use their other hand to raise the industrial carbon tax. And I have to point out, you know, not only is this bad for consumers, because there's so much steel in so many things, you know, everything from appliances to homes to vehicles, but we're also asking our steel workers to go and compete with their American counterparts. And those American steel companies don't have to pay the industrial carbon tax. So at a time when we need a government that's looking at how we can fight to keep those investment dollars in Canada, help our manufacturers compete against these unfair US tariffs, Mark Carney is saying he's going to take out their kneecaps. He's like asking a hockey team to go out and compete against another team, but taking away their sticks right about the time they're about to step on the ice. So Conservatives are not going to support a budget that includes hiking the industrial carbon tax ever, especially not at a time when so many Canadian companies are facing that brutal negative impacts from the US tariffs. There's no reason for the Canadian government to be increasing their costs here at home.
I've heard you go on the record, as well as other colleagues of yours, that the government has been trying by way of this budget to trigger a snap election. Do you still feel the same way?
Well, I believe that that's what they'd like. You know, if this budget ends up passing, then everything in Canada will be exactly like Mark Carney wants it. Because, as you know, Ben, the government can put almost anything they want into a budget bill. That means that every tax rate, every regulation, every piece of red tape will be exactly how Mark Carney wants it. And I think Mark Carney knows that the consequences of all his broken promises, you know, the fact that he couldn't get a win on tariffs, the fact that he's increasing that industrial carbon tax, the fact that there's nothing there for affordability and inflation's already up on the rise. I believe his preferred course of action was to have a big distraction with a costly election to distract from the attention of the terrible consequences of his policies. So we'll see what happens in the days ahead, but I just urge your viewers to pay attention to the actual substance of the budget itself. The fact is, more of their tax dollar going to pay bankers and bondholders on the interest, nothing on affordability, and no relief in sight on tariffs. In fact, the government's own budget documents say that under Mark Carney as Prime Minister, investment in Canada will continue to decline way out into the future. So it's a very bleak budget if you actually look at the actual numbers.
Mr. Andrew Scheer, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you very much.
And joining us now is Elizabeth May, leader of the Green Party. Elizabeth May, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ben.
Get this girl a drink.
You said earlier last week that the government should be reaching out to opposition for budget support. What have you heard from them since then?
A lot, actually. From the day the budget was tabled and I read it and immediately gave the reaction that I can't possibly vote for this budget, started saying, but if it was changed in specific ways, I'd love to be able to vote confidence and avoid an election. So conversations have been fruitful and hopeful, but we're not there yet.
So we need details. Well, talk to us about some of those conversations.
Well, I mean, it's obviously, I don't give verbatim reports on my conversations, but let's just say I feel pleased and genuinely honored that I get the kind of time I'm getting from a bit from the Prime Minister, the Minister of Finance, former Minister of Environment, who's now Minister for Identity, and chats in the corridors and hallways with various people. Of course, the government leader in the House, Steve McKinnon. We are, number one, we all know each other, and they know that I'm someone who respects cross-partisan work, loves this country, and I generally agree that this is a tough time for any prime minister. You're negotiating with Donald Trump, and goodness gracious, and there are key issues, but you can't just forget about our international obligations for climate, for nature, and for working together to ensure that we really make life more affordable for Canadians.
Are there any red lines that you have to see this party cross, that you have to see this budget cross? Anything that you must see from them that isn't in the budget today that must be in the next iteration for you to support it?
Absolutely, and I'm not going to give my detailed demands verbatim this morning, but let's just say that the commitment needs to be apparent and it needs to be solid, that this government is going to meet our international obligations on climate and on nature, and that we do understand that in pursuing those goals, yes, our economy is critical and economic sovereignty to take on Trump is important, but the steps we take can't undermine the future of our children and grandchildren, nor can we allow ourselves to be buffeted and bullied by extreme weather events that cost this country $8.5 billion last year from losses. And this summer, of course, we had wildfires all over Canada and thousands of people displaced. We need to do much more to adapt to the climate crisis that we're already in.
So you said of this budget, quote, it's dead to you without any climate commitments. And now I'm hearing that you are, you're bullish on the feelings that you're getting from this government in terms of the conversations that you're having. So how close to commitments do you have to get? How close do those feelings have to get to commitments?
They have to be in writing and in the budget. So what I am is hopeful because I think I'm an optimist genetically. And in this world, as you can imagine, being leader of the Green Party, you wouldn't be a member of Parliament for the Green Party if you weren't prepared to work hard and believe that better is possible and we can have hope. We must not abandon hope, and increasingly hope is hard work. So I tell you all this morning, I remain hopeful, but I don't have anything I can take to the bank yet, which means if the Liberals are adding up their votes, I'm still in the no column, but I really want to vote yes.
You're an optimist, but you're also quite a wordsmith. You've said, quote, the Liberals are chasing pipe dreams while trampling over low-hanging fruit. So in a very tight nutshell, Ms. May, what did you mean?
I mean that the cheapest things we can do to reduce greenhouse gases are effective, reduced costs for Canadians, and we've been ignoring them. The low-hanging fruit is energy efficiency, home retrofits, and building retrofits across this country, putting carpenters and electricians and people installing heat pumps to work. That's the low-hanging fruit. And chasing pipe dreams, I mean throwing billions of dollars at ideas for prototype nuclear reactors that'll probably never deliver a kilowatt of energy and are getting billions of dollars thrown at them for foreign corporations, General Electric and Hitachi, as well as good old Canadian companies like SNC-Lavalin. That's not where our money should be going.
Ms. May, one last question for you. For people of a certain generation, young Canadians, you have been a constant and permanent voice in the House of Commons. They've grown up with you. You've been there since they started following politics, but you've made it clear you will not be the leader of the Green Party going into the next election. Have you figured out the mechanism by which you're going to transition to another
Of course. We follow our Constitution, so we need to have a leadership race put in place. At the end of the leadership race, when a new leader or co-leaders are elected, that's when I step down at a big convention, rah-rah, balloons on, biodegradable balloons unleashed, And we
you
welcome the
later.
new leader taking us into the next election. Now, if there's a snap election, if the government falls, obviously I'm still leader, and not my fond hope, Ben. I really hope that we don't go into an election soon, and I'm working to make sure that doesn't happen.
Well, Ms. May, thank you for your time, and I got to say, you had me at biodegradable balloons. Thank you so much.
All right, gang, we're going to wrap it up right there. Elizabeth May makes me really tired. I need a nap after watching that. Maybe because during that show, during just that video, she had 4 martinis. It makes me feel like passing out. Andrew Scheer's a funny guy. Ben Mulroney might be the best new host of a major broadcast channel that there is. Imagine that. Ben Mulroney is the best. It doesn't speak well for the tides of journalism these days in Canada. They can all be bought and sold. I do kind of like Ben Mulroney. I don't know if we can buy and sell him. Don't know why he's doing this now. There must be a big paycheck in it. Who knows? I don't care. Like, kind of like the guy. So that's it. We'll wrap up on that. Aaron, Kennedy, and Loney, like, share, subscribe. Let me know in the comments what you think about Ben Mulroney, Elizabeth May, Andrew Scheer, the crises we have in Canada. It's such a mess. How do we get out from underneath this elephant that is squashing us? They don't care about you or your future, your grandchildren's future. To hell with you. They don't care. I care, and I'm trying to get the word out to Canadians about what's really happening. Legacy media, the frontline politics, the House of Commons, the scrums, the committee meetings, all that stuff. I'm trying to show it here. I only get a few videos a day where I'm able to do that. I wish I was able to put out more. I should do a 24-hour live channel. We could try that. Cryptomeria, come and live with me. Like, maybe we'll be able to do a 24/7 news coverage. Who knows? Anyhow, we're going to wrap it up right there. Aaron, Kennedy, and Loney, like, share, subscribe. Catch you in the next video. Ciao for now.